Hey everybody, hope you're good. My name is Abby, and on this channel I do wear tests, reviews, first impressions, a few hauls here and there, all focusing mostly on affordable makeup, beauty and hair care. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, please do hit the thumbs up button, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. So without further ado, let's get into this. So today again we are trialing a little batch production here. So I have one or two video ideas I'm going to try and put into this one slot together. So you might see chunks of this video or see my face like this in one or two other videos apart from this one that you're watching. So just the little FYI there. So moving on to the products I actually wanted to talk about today. So I was pretty excited when I heard e.l.f. had actually launched their Hydrating Camo Concealer and their Camo Concealer, the normal one, which is like the 16-hour concealer, which is more of a matte finish. That is one I've been using for a few months now, and I did do a video on it. So it was a video where most of the products I used were all e.l.f. products. I will link that in the cards just so you can watch that later on or whenever. But what I wanted to talk about, like I said today, is the e.l.f. Hydrating Concealer. And again, this is a satin finish. I feel like the sun has just come out from nowhere. So this is a satin finish concealer, and this is their original. So the original comes in a black cap. Whoa, where is this sunlight coming from? Great. So I just had to adjust my lighting there. So the products I want to talk about, like I mentioned before, is the Hydrating Camo Concealer. I was pretty excited when they launched, and I think they've been out for like 2 months now, I want to say. And so this is the new version. It looks very similar to the Fenty concealers, by the way, and the original comes with the black lid, and it's quite useful because the black lid on the original has a bit of like an embossed type of thing going on, so I can actually tell it apart from all the other concealers. Even though it's standing up, it's the only one that looks like this. So yeah, it has a pretty distinct like circular line on the lid, whereas this one is just a flat cover. Okay, so I got the same two colors I tried in my previous video. So the two colors that I have are deep chestnut and deep olive. So this is deep chestnut, it's a bit more neutral, and deep olive is a bit more, well, olive, it's a lot more yellow. So these two are what I usually use to highlight under my eyes and you know, in the center of my face and all that. I do try to use deep chestnut like on spots that I want to correct, because once it does dry down, it does go just a little bit darker. So I'm just gonna adjust my lighting. I feel like I might have to keep doing this throughout the video, so please bear with. So yeah, so like I was saying, the deep chestnut is usually what I use to conceal, like, you know, dark marks, old acne scars and that, because it does dry down a little bit darker. So I will do swatches on the back of my hand, and we will see how this concealer applies and again how it wears. So I'll try and have this on my face for as long as possible so you can get a true test of how long it lasts for the day. So on the Hydrating Camo Concealer, there actually isn't a claim about it lasting 16 hours like the original Camo Concealer, so that's something to bear in mind. But yeah, all it says is that it is a satin finish. Okay, so I'm just on the website now trying to just see what they claim about the concealer. So it says, our Camo Concealer just got better. Our new lightweight full coverage formula doesn't flake and gives your skin a boost of hydration for a satin finish. Camouflage those pesky spots and under eyes circles with this high coverage hydrating and long wear concealer. So it's really good that both of these concealers are supposed to be high coverage as well. I do find that this is very, very full coverage, and yeah, it lasts me the whole day. I don't actually have a problem with it. It's a really, really good concealer. It's one of my favorites, just period, not just like drugstore high-end, just period. This is a really, really good concealer. So we'll see how this applies. And I also wanted to try the e.l.f. Matte Putty Primer. So we have this as well. So recently I did a review on the Revolution Pore Perfecting Primer, which again is obviously a dupe for this particular primer, which is a dupe for the Tatcha, which is a dupe for the Tarte Putty Primer, whatever it is that one's called. But anywho, there are a lot of putty primers going around in the market right now. But when e.l.f. launched this mattifying putty primer, I thought, yes, this one is for me. Most of the videos I've seen on the original e.l.f. Putty Primer, which doesn't promise to be matte, by the way. Obviously, when that came out, I thought, well, you know, it's supposed to be a poreless primer, but it doesn't promise to be matte. So, you know, I'm not sure if it's something I particularly need, because the majority of my foundations have a pore filling kind of property to them. And of course, I have my trusty W7 Primagic primer, which I always use in most of my videos, because that also is a silicone primer, so it fills in my pores. So I never really have a problem with pores too much throughout the day, even though I do actually have like enlarged pores on this side of my cheek and a little bit on this side from like old acne marks and things like that. So yeah, so when that launched, I was like, I'm not sure if I should get it. And obviously everybody that tried it loved it, and most people more or less said it was a dupe for the 16hr Silk Canvas Primer. So fast forward to, was it I think about a month, 2 months ago, whenever it was that the matte putty primer launched. I think it launched around the same time that the hydrating concealer launched as well. So I thought it would be a good idea to try this, because again, I've got kind of normal to oily skin. So if you're new to my channel, hi girl, hey. So I have normal to oily skin. So the T-zone is oily and the perimeter of my face is normal, so it doesn't really get oily that much. I have a problem with foundation sinking into my smile lines, and what else, oily brows, you know, just oily T-zone. So yeah, apart from that, and obviously you can see my skin is acne prone. I don't have major flare-ups these days because I have a solid skincare routine that is helping me get rid of all that mess. But again, you know, I still need to wear makeup and foundation and all that good stuff. So when I heard about this, I thought, yes, this one was made for me. So I ordered it and it's here today. So I thought I'd let you guys know, if you care, you know, to buy this, or if you were interested, or you thought, well, I've already got the poreless primer, the original, why do I need this? So little segue. So when I went onto Superdrug, they actually had a little promotion, which was quite unique actually, because it meant that I could get the original for half, well, for basically for free. So they had this promotion, I think, for where you spend £15 on e.l.f. and you get a free poreless putty primer, which is this. So it's great because, again, I wasn't sure if I really wanted to invest money in this. Not that I'm investing a lot of money. I mean, it was like £9 or £8. So I just thought, I'm not really sure if I need it, because I already have poreless primers in my collection, despite all the hype on the YouTube. So when this came out and I wanted to get it, and I saw they had a promotion, I thought, yes, I got this. Got a backup of this. This is my Deep Olive Original Camo Concealer. And I was able to also chuck this into my cart as well. So this was a free sample. So I thought, perfect, we'll be able to compare the two. And if I love this, I can always go get it later. If I hate it, cool, I got it for free. It didn't hurt nobody. So let's get into this. So I'm gonna apply both onto half of my face, and we'll see how they perform. And by the way, I think so the concealer, the hydrating concealer, is also £5. Oh, and I was, just to let you know, I mean, I'm guessing by the time I upload this video, the promotion will probably be finished. But at the time of this, you know, this recording, I was able to get just these two with free shipping on e.l.f, you know, .co.uk, because they had an offer where you can get the poreless putty primer, you know, the full size. So you can get products like the putty primer or any of their concealers, the original or this one. As long as you buy two, you get free shipping. And I thought that's great, because I didn't really want to buy a full cart just to get free shipping, because usually you have a minimum spend of like £25, or you can get whatever you want to get below that and pay like £2.95 shipping. I'm a sucker for free shipping, so any chance I get for free shipping, I do take that. So yeah, I got these two, and this was all I paid. I paid £10 for these two concealers, and I got free shipping. So yeah, at the time of this recording, they had that offer, so just bearing that in mind. And of course, I got free shipping from Superdrug when I ordered to store. All I had to do was spend £15 on this, plus my backup e.l.f. Camo Concealer in Deep Olive, and I had this free in my cart. So without too much rambling, as we do, I'm just going to apply this onto my face. And if you're not new here, by the way, thank you so much for watching my videos. Your support means a lot to me. And yeah, every single like, every single comment does contribute something, you know, makes it all worthwhile. And you know, just it's like a little a little boost for the day. So it's really good to hear from you guys. So if you have anything you want to add, or if you've tried any of the products I've tried, or if you feel differently about some of the products I have reviewed, comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. It's, you know, I mean, it's all, the comment section is always good for just a little bit of to get a conversation going, and just to let other people know, just in case there's, you know, a few techniques or a few products out there that we don't know about. Use the comment section just to share that information. I always feel like that's kind of where that's why I started my YouTube channel, just to share information, because I was always being asked about my foundation or my eyebrows or my lip combination or just my overall makeup in general. I'd always get compliments that, you know, this looks good, that looks good, and what am I using. So hence why I started this channel, by the way, if you didn't know. It was just to share information. So again, let's use the comment section to, you know, share some information while I share my thoughts on these products I'm about to talk about. So we have this itty bitty pot, so just next to my eye, so you can see what the comparative size is. And again, it has a softer texture compared to the Revolution Poreless Perfecting Primer, which I previously reviewed. I'll link that in the video, like I said, so you can, you know, watch that at some other time. And yeah, so this is a bit more softer. That felt a little bit harder. So this feels quite creamy. So I'm gonna try and apply it to half my face, and then apply the mattifying primer, putty primer, on the, what is this, the right side of my face. Usually I only apply primer to the center of my face, i.e. my T-zone. And of course I've already done my skincare routine, by the way. I never say at the beginning of all my videos, but my skincare routine is always done by the time I apply my makeup. I never apply makeup onto bare skin, and always wear sunscreen. So yeah, a few tips if you want to make your dark spots disappear, take care of your skin, and make your makeup last longer, especially if you have oily skin as well. Good skin prep is essential. Never skip on the skincare. That's right for your skin, of course. As I'm applying this to half my face, it's definitely gliding on very easily. It's almost like a moisturizer, like a slightly thicker moisturizer. And it has a bit of a sheen to it. From the videos I've seen, I haven't noticed that it dries down, so I don't expect it to. But as you can see, it has a bit of a white cast. So that's what it looks like. I will definitely say I'm already leaning towards the matte putty primer, and I'm just praying that it works, because if this is my new favorite, then I'm going to be so happy. So just one thing to know, this doesn't actually come with a spatula, which I believe the original did, like the full-size version of the Poreless Putty Primer. I'm pretty sure it came with a spatula. This one doesn't, or if it's supposed to, I didn't get one. So yeah, so this is what this looks like. Like the packaging, you get quite a lot of product, especially because I'm going to use another finger, especially because you don't need a lot. I'm going to try not to apply too much, simply because you really don't need a lot of anything in makeup. I mean, we're so used to seeing people just slather on more makeup than they need. You really don't need a lot of anything. Too much of anything is a bad thing, as they say. So the texture is very similar. It is very soft, almost like a slightly harder moisturizer. Okay, so I feel like I've applied enough. I feel like the matte version has less of a cast, even though you can see there's a cast on my face. I'm just going to zoom in just so we can see a little bit more up close. I almost can't see any kind of pore filling going on, to be honest. Maybe a little bit, but it's definitely not obvious to the naked eye. I have some large pores on this side, more so than here, and I can't really see much. So there is that. So what I'm going to do is actually test out my e.l.f. foundation in the shade Cocoa. This is one of the original shades. Of course, they've expanded their shade range to 40 shades now. So I'm going to use my new favorite foundation sponge, makeup sponge. So this is the Juno & Co. Storm Cloud makeup sponge. It's amazing. So yeah, I'm going to use that. Oh, I did actually forget to say as well. So I actually forgot to tell you what the claims of the matte putty primer. Obviously, it's a given that it's going to give you a matte finish, but let's see what it contains according to the e.l.f. Website. So it says our best-selling primer goes matte. This velvety oil-free formula delivers a perfect matte finish. This skin perfecting putty primer is infused with kaolin and white charcoal. Absorb excess oil for a shine-free finish. Velvety texture glides effortlessly over the skin, smoothing over imperfections for a poreless effect. The ultimate grip on makeup. So again, it's £8 like the previous original primer, just so you know. So oh, there was one other thing I wanted to mention. These two concealers kind of look like they're a slightly different color, like the original concealer versus the new, which are both the same color, deep chestnut. This looks like it's a lot warmer and this is a bit more neutral, whereas a deep olive more or less look the same. I think maybe this is a tad darker, so I'm not really sure why that is, but from what I remember about this concealer, when it does dry down, it dries down a little bit darker. So I'm just going to swatch both sides for you. Okay, like I suspected, the shades are slightly darker in the new hydrating formula. So this is the hydrating formula in deep chestnut. So this is the original deep chestnut, and this is the original deep olive. So you can see both deep olives are different, and definitely both deep chestnuts are different. So just consider that when you are purchasing the new concealer. And also, I think the new concealer comes in 25 shades or something extended. It feels like they've extended the range. I mean, let me just double check. Their website is so slow. Like, I'm not even joking. It is so slow. Right, so yeah, so they definitely extended the original Camo concealer. They're quoting 26 shades with 8 new, because I remember when they launched, I was a bit like side-eyeing their shade range, because I remember these two colors, deep chestnut and deep olive, were the only two that I could actually picture people of my skin tone or even lighter or darker could use, and they basically skipped a couple colors. So and a lot of people weren't talking about that at the time. So yeah, so it's good that they actually have 26 shades of the original Camo concealer now. And then in terms of the hydrating one, they have 25 shades. So yeah, again, I think they both have the same type of doe foot. Let me just show you what that looks like. And this is, the shape kind of looks more or less the same. I feel like, are they slightly different, or am I crazy? I don't know, but anyway. So yeah, so this has gone a little bit darker, but it's not significant. They're definitely two different colors, so just FYI. I feel like I will actually be able to use this new deep chestnut shade on my face. It's a little bit on the warm side. Okay, so I've just kind of let this concealer dry down a bit. So I've tapped on it, and it seems like the hydrating concealer is actually starting to dry. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, they're both dried down, not too far apart from each other in terms of dry down time. So I wasn't really expecting that. I expected the hydrating concealer to be a bit more dewy. So what I'm going to do is apply the small amount I usually do on one side of my face. So I will apply, what am I doing? So I've got the matte on this side and the original. So I'm going to keep this the hydrated side, and I'm going to keep this the matte side. So this is usually what I do now. I can also use deep chestnut. Oh gosh, I forgot I haven't actually applied my foundation. So what I'm going to do is actually see how much coverage this offers, I suppose. Okay, so I'm just going to blend out both of these concealers. I am currently filming another video comparing two different sponges, so I'm just going to fast forward this section just so we can move on and see how they blend. Usually I do apply my foundation, but I guess we're going to see how this concealer applies over just normal bare skin. Okay, so my face is fully, well, not fully blended, but the concealer has been blended to as much as I can do right now. I just want to show you something that I noticed. So this is the matte side and it's caught onto the primer and it's looking patchy, but it's not really a problem because I'm going to cover it with foundation. I feel like I've lost some of the coverage as well. And the hydrating side has been blended out a lot better. We're nowhere near the finished product right now, so I'm gonna apply my foundation, which is the Cocoa. Okay, so this is what this side looks like. You can still see some of my scars. So you can still see some of my scars on that side. And this side looks a little bit more covered. As you can see, the foundation has a bit more of a dewy finish. It's not my exact skin shade, but it will do. So I'm going to go in with a bit more deep olive on both sides. This is what my face looks like up close. Okay, so now I'm just going to speed through the rest of my makeup application so we can get to my final thought. Okay, so I'm back. I'm just going to talk through the products I've already used so we can get to my final thoughts. So first of all, to set my face, I did set my face with the Dermablend Translucent Setting Powder. Then I went in with my eyebrow, which is my Revolution Duo Brow Pencil in the shade Dark Brown. And then my battery cut out. And then I set my under eye with my Revolution Bacon Blot in Banana Deep. This is what it looks like. It's fairly light. I then went in with my Maybelline Loose Fit Me powder in the shade Medium Deep. This is what it looks like. And then finally, shh, Mom is talking, okay? Dada's talking. Mom is talking too, okay? Okay, go and ride your scooter. Good girl. Right, so, and then after that, what did I do on my face? So I then, because I'd already set the majority of my face with the Dermablend, I went in with my Revolution matte base powder. This is what it looks like in the shade P14, and just use that to kind of lightly bronze, I suppose. And then went in with my Nip and Fab blusher palette. This is what it looks like. I hardly ever use, in fact I don't think I've ever used it on my channel because I was waiting to do a whole nip and fab face. That never happened, so I might as well start using it. I've been using it for months, I just never use it in my videos, and it's a really good shade if you're of you know, darker, medium to darker skin tone. There's an array of shades to use here. Today I just used these two shades, and yeah, they're really good. They're quite pigmented, so going with a light hand. And then what else did I use? Oh, I forgot actually, in terms of powder. So after I used all of that, I then went over with my, where is it gone? My Milani Rich Beige Pressed Powder. I think I only featured this powder when I initially did a haul, and I actually haven't used it in a video, but I do use it every day. It actually stays in my bag that I take to work, and this is what I use to do touch-ups if I need to. So this is in the shade Rich Beige 01. Oh, whoopsie. And this is the shade, and yeah, so I just use that on the perimeter of my face. I quite like it because it has a blurring effect to it. So yeah, if I need like a little bit, if I need a little bit of extra coverage on the go, I'll use this powder. And then did I use my NYX? No, actually I didn't use my NYX. This is normally what I use to finish off my face today, but my face was looking pretty smooth and pretty flawless because of the Dermablend powder, so I didn't really need to use this, and that would have been one too many powders. And then, oh, highlight. So I dug this out of the archives. This is my Sleek Makeup highlighter, and this is the one called Cleopatra's Kiss. If you still haven't used this highlighter, it's a really good one. I used this shade. Just beware, these two shades are creams, but they really are very good. They go really well over powder, so they're not really an issue. So yeah, I just used this with my what do you call it, this blush, my Real Techniques setting brush, and that's what I used for my highlight. I used my Real Techniques blush brush, the 400 brush, for my blusher, and this setting brush is the 402, by the way. And then I used my Maybelline the Falsies Lash Lift mascara on my eyes, and my Revolution Pout Bomb in the shade Cookie on my lips. I actually used this lip gloss. I did mention in my glossy box video for February that this is what I received, by the way, for the February Valentine's edition. I really love the way this smells. It's a pale pink, so I first used it and I was really happy with the way it looked. Then I used a lip liner from MUA Academy. It's one of their intense color lip liners in the shade Obsession. It's a brown color lip liner, which is great. So I used that on the outer part of my lips, and then I topped up this with my Pout Bomb. So I think those are all the products I've used. I hope I haven't forgotten anything. Yeah, actually today I haven't actually needed to use my Coty Airspun. I'm hoping everything I've applied, you know, everything looks pretty matte and pretty smooth and pretty skin-like, I want to say. So I hope I don't need to use the Airspun, and I feel like it might wash me out a bit more than I want to be. So yeah, I think those are all the products I want to use. Oh, and I need to set my face as well. So as per usual, so I've used my Revolution Sport Fix Extra Hold Makeup Fixing Spray. This is like my holy grail setting spray from the drugstore, and I think that is everything. So yeah, I will come back as late as possible to show you what my face looks like. Remember, this is the side where I use the matte putty primer, and this is the side where I use the original. So hopefully, I'm hoping the matte will keep me fairly matte all night. I'm really excited about this, and I don't know why. I haven't seen videos about it. I haven't actually watched videos. I know there have been videos about the matte putty primer. I haven't watched it yet, so I really want to know for myself whether or not it works. So yeah, I'm really excited about it, especially for my oily T-zone, and I want to know if it has any extra benefits in terms of helping with my smile lines, which I did mention. Foundation usually settles into my smile lines by the end of the day, most times with most foundations. So yeah, hopefully that will also help with that as well. And of course, my pores are usually filled in with foundation, so I don't know if it's going to do anything extra. So yeah, so apart from everything else I've showed you, I will come back later on and we'll see how the makeup wears. Hey everybody, so the time is 11:07 and and I've had this foundation, concealer, primer combination from e.l.f. on for almost 8 hours. So yeah, I think I'm gonna call it a night, or call it a day, whatever the saying is. So what I wanted to show you is how the primer has worn and how the concealers have also worn. So I had the matte concealer on this side, the original, and I had the hydrating. So there was one thing that I did notice. I mean, it wasn't anything major, but I think with the hydrating concealer is that it creased a little bit when I was working it in with the sponge, but it wasn't really anything too major compared to the camo. And also, if you notice, there was a bit more coverage with the camo than there was with the hydrating. My feeling is that because the hydrating concealer, obviously one doesn't dry down as quickly as the original, and it also spreads out. So obviously because it's like a bit more hydrating, more emollient, I want to say, yeah, so it spread it out a lot more easily, so I didn't have as much coverage. So I feel like maybe in this area here where I have hyperpigmentation, that wasn't as well covered as it should have been. And also it's worn away as well, like, you know, after like a whole day of activities with my daughter. And obviously if she's kissing and hugging and doing all sorts, I mean, she's not really watching for my foundation, and neither am I. So yeah, so I do feel like I've lost a bit on both sides, but it was less covered initially, like on this side. And yeah, so in terms of my creases under my eyes, if this would focus, okay, finally, you can see that both concealers have settled into my under eye creases, and I think they're basically just as bad as each other, I want to say. They're not, they didn't budge from where they were before, so I'm happy about that. But in terms of how both primers have worn, I honestly can't see that much of a difference. I overall expected my face to look a lot more oily, only because I know how this e.l.f. foundation typically wears. I know it's one of those foundations that looks dewy after a good few hours. It's supposed to be a dewy foundation, and it's not supposed to stay matte. It does last all day. What I'm trying to say is that it lasts all day, but it's not like it won't come off in certain places on your face. So yeah, that's what I found about it. But it's a really, really good solid foundation, I will say that. Let me just blot. I actually forget sometimes when I do these foundation reviews or concealer reviews or whatever it is, complexion product reviews, I can actually blot if I'm trying to determine how much oil has actually been produced, if it's not too obvious to the naked eye. So from what I can see, my face doesn't actually look as oily as it normally does, and I'm really, really happy about that, first of all. So given the fact that this side had the putty primer, the original, and it also had a hydrating concealer, and obviously we've got the hydrating slightly dewy foundation as well, I expected my whole entire face to look a lot more oily, just overall, and then I expected this side to look a bit more matte, so that's what I was expecting. So my face doesn't actually look bad at all in terms of like oiliness. Like now I wouldn't even be bothered to blot really. I'll definitely wait a few more hours, and that is saying something just for the fact that this is about the 8th hour mark. So yeah, this foundation combination, foundation concealer combination, and with the primer as well, on both sides look really, really good. I will say that my smile lines are starting to come through. This is the problematic side. Yeah, so that's about it. But apart from the smile lines, my face doesn't feel like it looks too oily. It just looks slightly more dewy than it normally looks. I will blot. So I've got these amazing, excuse the packaging by the way, so I've got this amazing DHC oil blotting paper. It is really, really good. I got it from Essential, but I believe you can probably get it from like Feel Unique or Cult Beauty or Look Fantastic, I'm sure. But DHC is a lovely, it's a really, really good, I think it's Korean, I want to say. It might be Korean, Japanese, South, you know, it's a Eastern Asian brand, and it does really good products. So this blotting paper, what I love about it is that it doesn't actually take off, like, if anything, any of your complexion with other blotting papers or with like blotting with tissue. So if you want to level up your blotting game, if there's such a thing, get yourself a blotting paper, or more specifically, get yourself this blotting paper. What I found with this one is that it doesn't actually take off your complexion products. So with blotting with like a tissue paper or something, you find that some of your foundation or concealer is coming off onto the tissue. This just soaks up the oil, so it's really good. So what I'm going to do is just see if I can place this. Oh, you can see the oil already. So there was actually some oil there. I'm going to turn it around. Actually, before I turn it, I'm going to do the same for this side while I hold this very heavy camera. Without taking off half my brow. So this side had the hydrating concealer, and this side had the original camo. I'm trying to determine if there's any. I honestly can't. There's a slight, like, there's maybe, I honestly can't say for sure, but it feels like there's maybe, like, this has just slightly less oil on it, the camo side. I'm gonna use what's left and just blot and then use what's left here. Yeah, I'm not even sure what I'm trying to determine here, but I just wanted to know how much oil was on my face essentially, and what my face would look like once I blotted. I feel like, oh yeah, this side has gone back to being completely matte, and so has the side. So I feel like both sides take blotting really well. So the hydrating concealer, barring the slight creasing issue, is just as good as the camo. So it's really good because with hydrating concealers you tend to find that they might crease a bit more because obviously they've got maybe a bit more oil in them, but this one actually has performed just as well. The only thing is with it, I feel like you might need to let it dry down a bit if you want to get as much coverage, because the camo concealer dries a lot faster. Yeah, so the only other thing that's disappointing with the new range is the coloring. The shade is not the same. I would definitely say that. I mean, you saw the swatches, the shade range is not the same at all. So I obviously got this online because I knew what it was from before. So the shades that arrived were a lot warmer and slightly darker, or one or the other. So yeah, it's not the exact same shade. The new shade, yeah, it's definitely a lot warmer. So I want to say apart from that, I did like using the Putty Primer. I won't say that it's anything different from my my W7 Prime Magic, and I couldn't really see a difference in terms of pore filling. I will say that, because the e.l.f. foundation is a really good foundation. Like, you don't even need a pore filling primer to use it, to be very honest. But I just thought I'd use it because obviously I was using e.l.f. products. But yeah, I don't think there was any kind of pore filling going on. And it also would have helped if both primers were clear, if they were like a clear gel rather than if they had a white, like a slightly off whitish finish to them. there isn't really anything else to add to this. Those are my thoughts. I do like both of them, and I'm really surprised that the original held up, because after trying the Revolution one, which I didn't think made a difference to how my foundation wore, I didn't have much hopes. And I know, because I'm an oily skin or oily T-zoned girl, I didn't want to spend too much money on the original size of the original putty. But apart from that, that is all I want to say in this. And yeah, so those are my final thoughts. Hope you have a good evening, and I will see you in my next one. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you did, and I'll see you later. Bye.